Well, hello. Welcome to Conscious Business Talks. It's Thursday, 8:30 Eastern, and here we are together. So, psyched to have you here. And let me see, there's Larissa. Hey, Larissa. Lovely to see you. And thank you for being here. Today, it's going to be a little bit, I think, on the short and sweet side because I wanted to share something that was on my mind. Bear with me here. I'll be quiet for a second while I move this. There we go. Okay, so what I wanted to talk today about is communication and a lesson. It's always there. We're always talking about how important communication is and so on and so forth. And yet, sometimes when we're in the thick of things, when we are looking at something and it looks like things are going to go drastically to the worst, right? And it's your emotions are involved, the other side's emotions are involved, and you're thinking, wow, okay, this just cannot turn out good. And yet, this is what I've found, both in my personal life, in my business life, when things are really, really amplified emotionally, and there is a lot on the line as well that you can stand to lose, and you don't want to go down there, but you really can't see a way out of it because you're looking at things and they just don't look good. Sometimes it's hard to remember what is really true, right? What is really there. Why are we here in the first place, right? Why is this I'm assuming, at least in my case, when emotions are engaged, there is something that's important that's on the line, right? So then at that time, you're thinking, how did I get here? How do I get out? Can I even save it? But the reality is, and at least what I found is, stop. Just stop. Stop for a moment, breathe, realize, and accept and acknowledge that where you are is okay. It's okay for you to be there. It's okay for you to feel whatever you're feeling. It's okay for the other side to feel what they're feeling. And yet, also maybe come back and bring back into focus what is really important, what is really true in all of that, all of the amplified emotions, all of the things that are going on, what is really, really true. And when you look at the piece that's actually true, that doesn't change with the amplified emotions. That doesn't go away just because things are looking like they are going down the toilet, right? And when you focus on that and you allow your heart to connect with that, and you allow that truth to be spoken and acknowledged, even when it puts you in a vulnerable position, more often than not, it also opens the door to the other side being able to rise above the emotion and coming with you to that place where that connection is felt through both sides and solutions can be found. And alternatives can rise to the surface above, the emotions that were not letting it go through, that not allowing that truth to rise, other semi half truths, perhaps some not truths, to instead become the focus, right? And this is what definitely, like, I can share a story. So there is somebody I love very much. There is an occasion that's really important to them that's coming up. However, there are other factors that are involved where I'm literally having to look at two almost impossible situations and trying to do the best for both of them, right? And it seemed like there was no pleasing anybody. This was disastrous, lots of hurt feelings and everything that were going to absolutely happen, no matter what. And the very people that I was trying to celebrate, it was not, instead, it was going to end up causing hurt everywhere, right? And yet, once I was able to step back, bring some oxygen into the space, and acknowledge that I couldn't control the seemingly impossible part of it, right? Those things, those circumstances were there for better or worse, for good or bad, they were just there. What was, however, the unshakable, irrefutable, absolutely important truth was that all the people, all the beings involved in it were beings that I love, right? That didn't change. It didn't change no matter what the situation was turning out to be, what words were getting exchanged and being thrown about, what judgments were being passed. It didn't matter. It didn't change the truth. And the truth was, these people are important to me. My love for them doesn't change. My desire to celebrate them and be happy with them doesn't change. However, it also put me in a pretty, what seemed like a shaky, vulnerable situation to lead with that. But as silly or not wise as it sounded, just looking at it completely in the thick of things, that's exactly what led me out of it and allowed us all to rise above it and make the best of a situation that didn't seem fixable. Now, take that into a business context as well, right? There's so many times when it seems impossible. You don't want to expose yourself to a quote unquote weaker, more vulnerable position because you want to keep, part of it hidden and your end to be stronger. But the thing is that sometimes those are constructs of our own mind, right? Sometimes that hiding behind the curtain, let me hide from you what's really there so you don't know, and that puts me in a more advantageous position because you don't have all the information. In most cases, lead with the truth. Lead with what seems right to your heart. Even it seems like it might actually put you in a position where people may see what your intention is, what your heart is. Because if you're being true to yourself, your intention should match what you're leading with, especially as a conscious business owner, right? If there is a division in that, if there is a division between your inner truth and what you're portraying, then that connection really cannot happen. And sometimes things that seem impossible are going to, in fact, continue to go in a direction you don't want, more likely than not down the toilet, because there isn't a place where human beings who are always behind the business can actually connect with each other, right? Let me take a look at the comments because I know there's going to be some awesome stuff getting exchanged. Larissa, it's okay not to be okay. It totally is. It took me a little while to actually go through that journey on its own, right? Where there was a point where even when I was okay not being okay, I was still, after I acknowledged that, okay, this is where I am, I was still trying to be okay. And sometimes it's okay to give yourself that space to just be. and acknowledge yourself to yourself that, hey, this is how I'm feeling. And maybe there are reasons why I'm feeling that. It's okay to feel this way right now. Let's go with this feeling, acknowledge it, be there, and then let it rise to where it needs to go without holding on to it deliberately with all your focus so it does not go away and that does not lift, right? Just let it be there and let it go its own merry way when it's ready. But it's okay to be just the way you are right then and there. And Larissa, again, you have such amazing insights. When we know anatomy of emotional reaction and equipped with tools to deal with them, then we create non-judgmental communication. You're absolutely right. And sometimes when you're hearing the judgments from people whose opinion you respect or people, who you love, um, and your emotions are connected with them, and maybe there's a part of you who thinks that maybe there's some truth to that judgment, right? Because there's always that little voice that wants to talk to you about how you're appearing to somebody and what they're thinking about you. Perhaps that is true even when it isn't. And even if it is, that judgment, right, that space where that judgment is created, it's actually kind of an odd little space, isn't it? Because why the judgment, right? Why? When there is love, when there is care involved, then let's find a place where that judgment doesn't need to show up because we are accepting of what is. Larissa says, commonly and largely, we hide our vulnerability. We hold strong masks, and this is a huge barrier for effective communication. 100%. 100%. Because those masks also allow us to feel that we are portraying who we are supposed to be rather than just being who we are. Because who we are, I think, is pretty cool, right? But sometimes we don't let ourselves believe that it's pretty cool. And you're right, Larissa. This is where consciousness and conscious awareness step in to firstly recognize that we hold masks and armors and then make decisions to allow feelings. And the funny thing with masks and armor is that while we hide behind it, what we don't always realize is that it's also a place of separation, because as we are hiding behind it, we're unable to connect with the very people that we crave being connected to, right? Because that in itself is a barrier. And it's only when we allow it to slip and let ourselves be seen for who we are. And the funny thing is, sometimes we are reaching for who we want to be. And that's a human thing. We're always evolving and developing. But the more I find out, the more I know that it's really just finding a connection back to who you are already, right? It's just allowing that fog to clear and realizing that it's not necessarily a reaching for something you're not yet, to more of a connection back to who you already are. Because it's things that I've said when I didn't know what I know now. And yet I'm going back to what was there and I'm like, wow, what part of me knew that already? Allowing me to speak it, even when I didn't fully realize, and I'm sure there's still tons for me to explore and learn and find out. But it's the funniest thing. I didn't know what I know now, and yet what I said then is literally what I'm finding my way back to. So there's a part of me that already knew that to be true way back when I didn't know even what I know now, right? So anyway, and it is only true for them. Yep. But we I think when the emotions are amplified, at least I find, I'll speak for myself, when emotions are amplified, it's sometimes so easy to take on somebody else's truth and step into that world that it creates, right? And the fun stuff is to realize that you're stepping into a world and it's as much a construct as the world you created with your truth, right? So why not choose the one that actually serves everybody better? Go with it. We can choose not to step into things that cause further hurt, right? And definitely, as Larissa said earlier, the judgmental or non-judgmental part of things, that definitely has to do with it, right? Create that space of non-judgment where you can bring to the table the best of what you feel and allow others to express the best of what they feel. And even if the thing isn't exactly what you want it to be, let's focus on the part that we can still bring up and take joy in, right? Share joy in, and make of it what didn't seem possible before. At least that's the way I'm like in favor of leaning towards, because I'm like, hey, that, why not? Happiness and joy are ours to have. We don't have to seek them from the outside. They're really just right here. Let's share them, because we can choose to bring them up and share with each other, right? And the beauty of that moment, I find, is unparalleled, because when you feel that connection, when the other side feels your love, and you know in your heart you're feeling their love, what else is there? How could you possibly not come up with solutions when that is there? And okay, so I'm going to go there. I am going to go there. Tell me what you think. When people are talking about love and when people are talking about business, there seems to be a separation of the two. Am I right? Am I right with this? Tell me. Because it's like, okay, if you're talking about business, why are you talking about love? They don't belong in the same conversation, do they? Well, to me, they do. Because to me, when you have a foundation of love in the first place, it doesn't let you step wrong, right? It puts priority where priority belongs. It puts the focus where the focus belongs. The decisions are easier and clearer, and the solutions are easier to find. The trick to remember for yourself is to make sure you stay connected to that foundation. And at least for myself, I'm always thinking that I am not going to let this facade that love does not belong in business enter my world, right? So even if it sounds funny, even if it sounds like, what? Try it and see what worlds it opens up for you, right? Because for me, it literally changes the whole dynamic, especially in impossible situations. Okay, so, hey, and so great to see you. How are you, my friend? Larissa says, such separation is created from the primal fear of being separated in our physical bodies from the divinity of oneness. Ooh. Separation. I do believe we're all connected. All living beings are connected. If we weren't, we wouldn't. Other things wouldn't have such power to tug on us, right? So, and ripple effects, butterfly effects, however you want to think of it. Every decision that I take in my personal life, in my business life, touches somebody's life, and more often than not, more than one somebody's life, right? So yeah, there is the separation that is created more often than not is separation that we create ourselves, right? From other business partners, from other family members, from friends, from potential partners, from whatever. But the separation is a human construct, right? We choose to be separate from somebody. We choose to be separate in our emotion. We choose to be separate because of the masks and the armor. But the divinity of oneness actually does wait for us, right? It's because the separation is within the self that it seems and feels separation is around. Oh my gosh. Okay. So, yep, totally on the same wavelength. Absolutely. And I found, at least for myself, that the more I explored that connection with myself, the easier things became, right? And even when these days, and any days really, because every time you're in a season which seems to have some struggle associated with it, it seems like it's that season now, right? But that season has been before, and we have managed to come through it. The difference, however, is that when you feel that connection and you allow your foundation to be strong, allowing love to be the base of that foundation where everything rises from, things are, I find, a lot simpler. My life personally and my business decisions, even when it seems to other people that I'm not stepping right, and that's fine. That's for them to see from the outside. But for me, as long as it seems to be in alignment with what my values are, what is it that I am trying to bring into this world and to support in this world, I'm okay with everybody thinking that, oh, well, you must, like, why would you do that? Let them, like, let this happen, or do not do this, and why would you support? And it doesn't matter. I'm no longer in fear of that judgment. I'm aware of and conscious of the feelings of the people who I love, but I'm also recognizing that I don't have control of fixing their feelings. I can, however, step up and share what the actual truth is that is important and unchangeable in all of the mix where other things are trying to take it away and hide it. I'm no longer okay. Haven't been for a long time, but more and more and more and more, I'm no longer okay to let it hide from me. So I share it now, even if it puts me in a vulnerable situation, a spot that doesn't seem wise, and it's okay. And Larissa, the unity needs to be reached first within the self, then everything and everyone will be changed towards that unity for you. I love that. I love that. And some days, I think it's more of space that you need to create for yourself so you can connect with that space within you that holds, that realization for you and allows you to bring all the little fragmented parts, more into a cohesive whole that is alignment. And when I say alignment, I know you'll get this. I know you'll get this. When you're doing the right thing, there is just that feeling of that everything is in line. It's amazing. And it brings with it that peace that no matter what may come, you're okay with it. And let's go with it. Explore. Be curious about where it may lead you. And I will put myself out there. You know what? When you are feeling that connection, that alignment, and you decide to go with it, guaranteed you're not going to end up in a spot that you regret. And with that, I thank you for being here with me. Thank you for sharing your thoughts with me. Continue to tell me please, and share with me what comes up for you as you let this perk, either at the front or the back of your mind, wherever it is. And Vicky, when you're watching it, here's my espresso cappuccino. I think this one is the espresso one. So for you, here's a sip. And with that, I'm going to bring on some music for you, and we'll meet here. Oh, you know what? I can't forget. I would totally love it if you can give me some love on YouTube, hit that like or subscribe button, and share with me your comments on YouTube too. I love the fact that you are sharing with me here and you are supporting me here, but I'd love to get some love on YouTube as well. So I'll see you here next Thursday at 8:30 Eastern, 5:30 Pacific, and in Brisbane, Australia time, that would be Friday. Larissa, correct me if I'm wrong. Is it 10:30 Brisbane? With that, here's some music for you, my friend.